Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance today. My name is Mark Ober. I'm the state attorney in Hillsborough County and also a longtime board member of the Police Athletic League, and I welcome you all to this event on behalf of PAL, its staff, and the board of directors. We welcome you to this very significant event for our community. If you would please rise before we begin the program so we can have a presentation of the colors by the Tampa Police Explorers. Then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem sung by Detective Sonia Wise of the Tampa Police Department.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So kindly. Thank you, folks, for being here today. This is a monumental event, and it's emotional to me, and I'll tell you why briefly. I know y'all are facing the sun. You could be facing the rain. So we're blessed to be here today with these folks, but it was with this weather. I was a young man that stepped onto this property 40 years ago this year. And I met at that time an individual that became a coach and a mentor to me. His name was Lawrence Siegel, Larry Siegel. And I would note that Larry passed a couple of years ago. His wife is here. Mary, please stand if you will. And like Larry, like Coach Siegel, Mary was here all the time.
He was married to me for 59 years. And I do miss him, believe me.
I bet you do. But organizations like PAL that help develop our youth, give them a safe haven, an opportunity to play in a safe place, to be a child, and to learn the skills that are necessary to become adults. They are critical to this community and any community's health. PAL's continued success requires the support of community leaders, and we have them here today, many of them. and we thank them. They show us the support that these organizations need, and in my line of work, when I come here and I see these kids who are being taught respect, honor of family, of law enforcement, it's a wonderful feeling. One of the greatest supporters, not only of this organization, but the community as a whole, is our mayor. And at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over to the mayor of Tampa, Bob Buckhorn.
Good afternoon, and thank you. It's good to be here. This has been a long time coming. It's always good to see a fellow and former mayor, somebody who's been a dear friend to me for a long time. Mayor Dick Greco, thank you, as always, for everything that you've done for this city. As many of you saw in the paper the other day, there were 6 of us that are still alive. We had lunch. We saw each other the next day, and Dick said to me, "There's still 6 of us, right?" But we had 45 years of mayoral history there at that lunch, and it was really a wonderful occasion, going back to the time of Mayor Bill Poe and continuing to the current time. And you know, certainly I have been blessed and stand on the foundation of those mayors that came before me. So Dick, thank you for what the great city that you left me, and I hope I make you proud when we take it to the next level. So thank you to the Sykes board. Thank you for being here. To John and to Susan, thank you for passing through our lives. I mean, this is a great opportunity. All of us as community leaders have a very, very simple obligation, and that obligation is to leave this city and this world in better shape than it was given to us. As the father of a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old, I'm reminded every day of what my obligation is, and it's to those 2 little girls and to little girls and boys like them all over this community. And what we are doing here today, what you are doing here today, thanks to the hard work of some of the members of the Tampa Police Department that are here today, some of the members of the community that have been so generous to help fund this project, you're making a difference in the lives of the young people that will pass through these doors in no uncertain terms. You know, as I travel around this community and I see some of the circumstances that as mayor, and certainly Mayor Greco can understand this, that we see every day and that our police officers see every day. When I'm out in Jackson Heights and I'm standing surrounded by 20 orange cones that indicate shell casings that came as a result of a beef that kids in Grant Park had with Jackson Heights and came and shut up an apartment complex. And to know that but for POW and but for some of the men and women who wear the uniform who touch these lives, this community would be in far worse shape. You know, it's been said, if you want to see the past, touch a rock. If you want to see the present, touch a flower. But if you want to see the future, touch a life. Because of the generosity of John and Susan Sykes and the Sykes Foundation and the Sykes family, because of the leadership of Jane Castor and the willingness to use law enforcement trust fund dollars, because of the city staff that has been involved in this, we're going to touch some lives. We're going to make a difference in some lives. We're going to save some lives. Some of those young people who would be out on the street alone, without adult leadership, without a place that they could call a safe harbor, without a place that they could learn leadership skills, learn how to be young men and women. But for all of you, that wouldn't happen. So understand that what we're doing today is not merely cutting a ribbon. We're making a difference. And ultimately, that's what all of us have a moral obligation to do. Whether you wear the uniform of the Tampa Bay Bucks, whether you wear the uniform of the police department, or whether by your sheer generosity and understanding that this is bigger than just yourself, like the Sykes, who have been blessed. And those who have been blessed, much is expected. And the Sykes family has never let us down. They give, and they only ask for the opportunity to give some more. We are grateful as a city that you have chosen us, John and Susan and Chuck. We are grateful to the board. Understand that you're making a difference. You're changing lives, and when you change lives, you change the community. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are several members of our audience that today support PAL and can tell you why this organization is so important. And if you look over here to these kids, that's what it's all about. And teaching them life's lessons. And to the kids here now, you may not recognize these guys over here because they don't have their helmets on. But we have two Buccaneers here that hopefully are inspirations to us all, with the law enforcement community, to the people that share their time and efforts and energy. And today, kids, we have, and I bet they'll probably sign an autograph for you. I haven't asked for their permission yet, but I bet they will. We have Dakota Watson and Keith Tandy here from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I would believe, gentlemen, that time is fast approaching for football. Yes, sir. We can learn a lot from the people around us. We can learn a lot from who we are with and who we associate with. One young man has joined us today to share with us his story of how the Police Athletic League changed his life. Please help me welcome young Mr. Dennis Miller.
Thank you for coming, and I want to just tell you how PAL's affected me. I couldn't afford coming to PAL, so luckily through the rich I was able to come through a grant, and I've been coming for the past 5 years. I haven't had that good of a life. I don't have a father there. My mom is great, and I have two little sisters. PAL's been able to provide me with father figures like Sergeant Ray, Coach Josh, Coach Ricky, who have really been able to tell me and teach me how to be a good man in life, and have really put forth issues like education, being right to women, and just being a good citizen in general. PAL has taught me many other things other than that, and it's just amazing to see how people have donated money to organizations like this. And if not for that, I could be like some of the people in my neighborhood selling drugs or being a criminal, having shell casings on the ground. And I've been able, through PAL, to change my life. Through PAL, I've been able to go to D.C., speak to politicians about education. I've been able to mentor kids like the one standing over there. It's awkward. Like the one standing over there. And now that I'm older, I'm 17 now, I'm able to put forth issues they've taught me and teach other kids. I'm able to go there during the summer and have the little younglings and have them be able to know that during the summer it's not just a break from school, you're still learning, and that just because you're a kid, you can still learn how to be a good person in life in general. And I'd like to thank the Sykes for donating money to PAL, because if not for that, I might not be able to go. Thank you. That will be all.
Dennis, you are an inspiration to all of us, not only the young men and women that are here, but to all of us, because through life we face adversity, we rise to the challenge, we need the guiding hand of our community, its leaders, and it's an important day for us all here. So we appreciate everything that you have done in your attitude, and as we find in life, when we get knocked down, we get back up, and we can see that. We can see that in you. So, thank you very much, Dennis, for your comments. You're a very inspiring young man. We wish you the best. We are now at the part of the event where we will dedicate this impressive building behind the stage, and this building did not happen overnight. I can tell you, when I came here 40 years ago, that building was substantially the same as the building that was knocked down not long ago. And as Phil Ray would say, the old building was held together with duct tape and baling wire. And he wasn't lying. There was rain coming through the roof, and a lot of work went into this building. And it was all made possible through generous contributions. And here to tell us more about that is the chief of the Tampa Police Department and Mr. Park Helms, Board of Directors for the Sykes, and a dear personal friend of theirs. So, folks, if you would, Chief, if you would come to the podium. Let the lady go first. Chief.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, here in law enforcement, we are in the business of keeping our city safe, ensuring that all citizens have a safe place in which to live, work, and play. And what better place to start that than with the children? Because if you can form them in a positive manner, then they will become productive members of our community. And nobody understood that more than Larry Siegel. Larry Siegel started the Police Athletic League out of the trunk of his police car in the 1950s. And he understood the value of providing positive outlets to children. And so we are forever in debt to Larry Siegel and all that he has done. As has been alluded to, I wish everyone could have seen the gym that was here before. You know, one of the only gyms in town that you got rained out of a basketball game. As my dad used to say, if the termites stopped holding hands, the whole place would have caved in. But we got our money's worth out of it, without a doubt. So we decided that the time had come, we had to build a new gym. Well, where do you start with a project of this magnitude? Well, I'm in law enforcement. I don't know how to raise funds. So what did I do? I set up lunch with my good friend, John Sykes. And I said, John, listen, we've got to have a new gym for these kids. It means so much. Can you help me raise the money for it? And he said, sure, I can do that. And I said, well, do you need to know anything about it? And like a great businessman, he said, oh, no, I've already researched it. I've got all the information that I need. He said, I'll call you back. I said, all right. So he called me back, and he said that he and Susan and Chuck and the Sykes Foundation would put money towards the funding of this gym. But he also said, I want the Tampa Police Department to have some skin in the game as well. So what we did is we went to those confiscated funds that we seize from the criminals out there on the streets. So the money that was used to fuel the drug trade is now going to be used to fuel the shaping of children's lives for generations to come. And I tell you, I couldn't be any happier about this. I'd like to thank a lot of people that were involved in seeing this through to fruition. All of the city departments that worked here tirelessly on this event. Also the Parks and Recreation, who are a partner of ours in the PAL and running the PAL on a day-to-day basis. Thank you to all of you who have donated funds and will donate in the future, which I have no doubt about. And thank you also to the Buccaneers, the Lightning, the Yankees, those individuals that are willing to come out and offer their time, and we're asking everyone to stand up and do that to shape the future of our community. You see a lot of officers here today, and that's what we're trying to do, is to provide positive, constructive outlets and a great example for these kids. Now, in a business where you really can't take anything personal, I take this gym very, very personal. I am a product of athletics. I learned out on the fields, on the courts, life skills, those things that have allowed me to stand before you in the capacity that I'm in as a chief of police today. I attribute all of that to the constructive activities that developed those life skills and also, probably as important, kept me out of trouble. So it's very personal to me, and I can tell you that when my career comes to an end, the building of this gym will without a doubt be the crowning event and achievement of my entire career, because this gym is going to be here for generations to come, and it's going to positively affect kids like Dennis Miller so that they will become police officers or at least positive members of our community. So because this has positively impacted me, I want to thank my good friends John and Susan Sykes. I tell you, I couldn't be any happier. And we want to dedicate this gym to John and Susan Sykes.
Thank you, Chief. It is a high honor for me to be here on behalf of the Sykes Board. You know, this is not the first time that I have stood with John Sykes where he was making a gift such as this. John's father was a detective on the Charlotte Police Force many years ago. John has provided scholarships for children of police officers that have come through college and have become contributing citizens in this community and in this country. One of the things that John did when he started Sykes Enterprises was to build this company on character. He knew that it was more than just being a good businessman. You had to contribute to the communities where you did business. And you had to have a board, and you had to have a commitment, an agenda for character. And he has done that. And Dennis, you're just the kind of young man that John Sykes has helped along the way and has continued to help. John and Susan have continued that tradition that was started in 1977. And they've done it not just in this community, but in many communities across this country. And he's done it in a way that I believe has brought credit to the role that we have in helping shape the lives of young people. And I would say that Chuck, who is now following in his father's footsteps, has that same commitment to making sure that not only do you succeed as a company, not only do you succeed in doing what is right in the business world, but you succeed in making sure that you create an opportunity for young people, for people who need help, to grow and to be and to become the kind of people that God created them to be. And that is exactly the commitment that John Sykes has had. I'll tell you another thing about John before I sit down. John and I learned a lot about teamwork. I'm looking out at this football field over here, and I remember those years when John and I played on the same football team. I was the quarterback, and he was the end. And I threw the ball, and he caught it. And we've made great strides. He'll tell you something about that in just a minute, I'm sure. But there is something about teamwork, a commitment to building community, a commitment to doing what is right when you build a company. That's Sykes Enterprises Incorporated, and that's John and Susan and Chuck Sykes. Thank you all for allowing us to be a part of it.
John and Susan, at this time, we would like to honor you. We can figure out how to get this off. For this plaque, which will be placed on our gymnasium from now and for all times. For those who come across this plaque, they will realize who unselfishly gave of themselves and gave to this community again, again, and again. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, John and Susan Sykes, for everything that you've done, not only for PAL, but for this community. As with any non-for-profit organization, it takes a lot to accomplish PAL's goals, and there is one person who has a tremendous amount of passion. If you've been over here at any time, one face that you will see every day, every time, is this gentleman by the name of Phil Ray, PAL's executive director. He has been here through it all, and at this time I present with great admiration and respect the executive director of the Police Athletic Association, Phil Ray.
Thank you, Mark. And I promise I won't keep you for more than 35 to 40 minutes out there in the sun. A lot has been said today, and what has been said, I thought maybe I would be saying it. But it cannot go without saying, people think our new gymnasium youth center is a dream come true. I pinch myself every day to make sure that I'm not dreaming, that this is reality. I call it the miracle on West Diana Street. Through your generosity, and it took an entire community, you can look at this poster as well, not just the last 6 months, year, but for a decade, or decades prior to that, of commitment of such a great community who is willing not only to give financial resources, but in many instances of themselves. This is a great organization. I stand here and I tell you, you won't find a better organization for the children that come here from the Tampa Bay community. We have parents who are willing to take time off of work today so they could talk to you about how Pell has affected their lives. I can tell you from being out here nearly 10 years, there's a lot of success stories. And I'm just going to repeat one thing that Dennis Miller mentioned to me 5 years ago when he came from a very crime-ridden section of town. He sat on the porch. It used to be the old police pistol range. And he looked me dead in the eye. At that time, I was a sergeant with the Tampa Police Department. And he goes, "Sarge, you know, if I do nothing else in life, I am going to get an education, I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to get my mother and my sisters out of that neighborhood." And I just hope that Dennis is one of 10,000 stories that will come across in the future. So, we're hot, you need to get out of the sun. So again, from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of all Pell, thank you so much. Prior to going inside, we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. After that, I'd like to invite you inside for a tour, and then the refreshments will be upstairs. Keep in mind, this is a functional building. We do have our after-school program. And it's also still a work in progress. We're not completed yet. So, keeping that in mind, I'd like to have everyone step over to the ribbon. But there's one last thing. One last thing. I told you I'd keep you out here 35 minutes. There's one lady in this community that I respect beyond belief. You heard the stories about the old fallen down building. The board discussed that, and Jane Castor was in that meeting. And when that meeting concluded, she took me aside, as you heard, that she knew some really, really great people, and she will try to do what she could to get them involved. If it wasn't for Jane Castor's efforts, I wouldn't be standing on this podium today. I would like at this time to introduce Officer Josh Penny. One of the few people who have been at Pell longer than I.
Thanks again for everyone that's came out here. Mr. and Mrs. Sykes, thanks again. I've been here 20 years, so for me, this is really a dream come true. Now I know what they did with the old walls of Pell, because I was looking at this board and I saw some termite dust. But, a lot of athletes, thousands of athletes and students have passed through these walls and these fields since I've been here, and for the 30 years before I got here. And we wanted to honor some athletes. We have this lovely gym, and we decided that we were going to do our own ring of honor in there to start putting some things on those empty walls. And hopefully one day we'll have some championship banners that we used to have back in our old gymnasium and stuff like that. But we wanted to honor and start a Ring of Fame, and we thought that we would start with an athlete that was an athlete in this community some time back, but has given us probably as much to us in our community as anyone else. And if it wasn't for her, this would not have come true. And she was a star athlete, and it took us a little time, but we found her number had been retired. So I put her number in PAL colors. Chief, you're our first Ring of Honor. I hope I got the number right. Dennis, we looked at it, 14. I think 14 is going to be a big year also for you. Thanks again for everyone, and Marco.
We can't mess this up, I hope not. Yep. Whoa, almost there.